Hey y'all, hey, welcome in, come and take a seat, come and take a seat. You're with Lee. Okay, so I'm going to be getting ready. Me and one of my friends are headed to the movies for Christmas. So I forgot what movie we were supposed to be going to see, but I really want to get outside the house because your girl is newly single. Yes, I am newly single and I refuse to sit in the house and be sad and depressed. I am going to step back out there, and it's a new journey for me. As y'all can see, or can't see, I am literally thugging it out on the floor. I am in my new apartment, new everything. And I've been kind of missing from this YouTube channel for about, 8 months. I know y'all like, where have you been, Alicia? What's going on? What's the update? The last time you were posting, we were in this like relationship bliss. And to be honest with y'all, I don't even know what's really going in my life right now. But we're gonna try to push through. I'm gonna try to talk through and do my makeup at the same time. So if I'm struggling, just don't mind me. All right, I had to go and grab my got to be glue. Ooh, yeah, so I had to grab my got to be glue for these eyebrows because y'all know how this goes. Somebody taught me how to do this trick off of TikTok, baby, and this is gonna get you together real quick. So I'm just gonna take a regular spoolie brush from one of my old eyebrow pencils, and I'm just gonna brush it up because we want them to give off bushy. We want them to give off full and thick. So me and my ex, we started dating around almost 3.5, 4 years ago. We actually met on Facebook. And the crazy thing, he was around a lot of people that I knew from either a childhood or my high school years, but we had never met each other. At the time, he was living in Florida. I was finishing up my degree in Springfield. Immediately, the relationship started off as a long distance one, and we kind of jumped into it immediately. We both were not looking for somebody at the time, but we kind of fell head over heels for one another. After we dated for about 3 months, we were just like, let's go ahead and make things official. We started doing anything that a traditional couple would do. We would see each other probably every 3 months. Having a long distance relationship was great at the time because we got to take a break from what we were doing. But essentially we weren't really assessing each other's character, assessing each other's likes and dislikes, which I'm going to get to that because that's a key component as into why things transpired. So the pandemic happened, and I can attest to you and honestly say that it was me more so than him encouraging us to move in together. Because I'm like, I'm done with my degree, you're pursuing yours, let's go ahead full throttle, let's kind of jump into it, right? And so he was like, all right, cool, let's just thug it out or whatever the case may be. First, he was opposed to it because of his own reason, being fearful, because we both had never done something like that. And me being, I'm a planner, like, I don't want to come off as like, we need to get together and get married tomorrow. No. I'm a planner. I move with intentions. So if I'm dating somebody, we gotta have goals. We gotta have timelines of things. We really gotta be. And I can honestly say it seemed that way at the beginning. So 2020 happened. I moved to Florida, which was a big change for me. I struggled with moving to Florida because number one, if you guys haven't watched my past video, which you need to because it's very good and insightful, I lost my job working for a company that I had worked for years, honey, years, dedication, time. So to have to go from rock bottom, move to a whole different state, still try to be in a relationship, but I'm at my lowest financially, I'm at my lowest confident-wise, I'm at my lowest purpose-wise. That took a toll on me personally. But I still was like, we could do this, we could figure this out. So we move in together. I started my job as a store manager, which, that was a process within itself. This is the first time I'm really being transparent with y'all because I just want to stop living life as if it's supposed to be this perfect mold. And it's not. And I want people to really watch this video to really truly understand that life doesn't always go accordingly and to learn from my mistakes. That relationship was not it. It wasn't. It wasn't. We moved in together June 2020. Everything is perfect. I helped him get through his summer semester of school. We went through, made a checklist as into like what our next move was after he graduated. There were supposed to be plans for me to really get into my business, tap into my business, things of that sort. First of all, this is beyond us like living together, like, because that's a thing. Living with somebody and having to accept them good, bad, and ugly, you start to see their depressive states. You start to see their cleanliness. You start to see who they really, truly are. When you're dating somebody, especially from long distance, you don't really get to know. As we're making this goal list, I had started to take the responsibility of being the financial breadwinner. Now, my job, I'm still going through financial hardships. I'm not making as much money as I once did before, and even with the new title of a store manager, I still was taking on expenses of Florida. Moving here to Florida is expensive. It's not cheap. And I'm not gonna advertise it as like, oh, just come move down to Florida. No, honey. I moved during the pandemic, which was a blessing because now it's even worse. Like, this apartment is a studio. It ain't nothing but 400 something square feet and it's $1,200. When I first moved down here, my 500 something square foot apartment, which was still small, was about eight or 900. So even at that time, for what I was getting paid and having to support two people off that salary, that was not enough. So it turned into a few months of me having to support him and his expenses in school to a couple of years actually. And that, my friend, is something that I want to talk first on. Women, do not do that. And here's how it was my fault. Initially, I was the one who wanted to move in, and it was my idea, like, oh, I'll help you and we'll figure it out together, which that was the goal. But a lot of the times whenever you help somebody in that area, and I see this happen time and time again, I felt like in my relationship pressure to prove if I was down. And again, this video is not to bash him. Like, this is stuff that we learned together. I'm not in a space where I want to even bash anybody about anything. I'm just here for accountability. On my end too. On my end at that. So it was both. It was like, okay, you don't really have to do this, and throughout the relationship, it was a constant battle of like showing this person that I was worthy of taking a chance on. Because in the process of me supporting his dreams, there was also like a little bit of hesitation, not a little bit, a whole lot of hesitation to support mine in the way that I was supporting him. And that was my first red flag of living with this person and being with this person, that the equivalence of reciprocity was not even in the factor. As a young woman, telling my even younger women, a lot of times in the Bible, especially, like, let me ask the Holy Spirit to come down. If I could tell myself to stop before I made that decision to move down here, I definitely would have. If I could have told myself to be more realistic about this person when it comes to how they treat me, I definitely would have. But I'm thinking, hey, maybe this person is just feeling this way because they're having cold feet. Maybe we are just experiencing different things because stress of school. But I wouldn't say all that either. When we moved in together, he was on academic probation. The one quality about me that I love, this is one quality that God has blessed me with. I have the ability to help teach people. Say that we have algebra together. I'm finessing algebra. Like, algebra is really great for me. I have this thing about me where I could even teach you at your own learning pace. I have this thing where I could break things down in layman's terms. I could take a complicated sequence of information and then I could put it down into layman's terms for people to pick up off on. So he fell on hard times. I went and taught him his learning style. In that, we're learning each other for what it is and what it's not. You know, I took the responsibility of always wanting to fix it, even though this was not necessarily my issue. Like, I'm a people pleaser. I felt compelled the term of my relationship to help fix all of his wrong. I took on the financial responsibility. Academically, he felt on some type of hardship, and I took that on as a role. And it was very successful, but in that process, I was mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. And I had not realized that being a people pleaser, sometimes people will keep taking, even a partner, right, with the greatest of intentions, will keep taking and taking and taking, and you won't have enough to give. And people pleasing does not serve you. So if you're not serving yourself and you're always serving other people, what reward do you have in that? Like, everybody else is good, but you're not. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Everybody else is good, but you're not. That's not a way that you should live your life. 6 months had passed and we had got over that one hump. A lot of our issues was just surrounded around the lack of consideration for me. He didn't understand the way that, I wanted to plan. I wanted to sit here and progress in ways more than what a lot of people would deem as being a normal 20-something-year-old. The things that he desired throughout the relationship, which was figuring out as we go, there is people out there in the world that could support that. It's just I wasn't one of them. So at this point, it had been 2 years of dating, a year living with each other, financial hardships, academic hardships, and then there came a point in time where I felt unappreciated and very mishandled and misused. I'll put it that way. This is a part of the conversation where I really I'm taking the time to stop to talk. My appearance started to change just because of the stress that I was under. Started picking up weight. I started to not really be myself, which is not like me. I stopped really tapping into the things about me that I loved so much, and I started to making it always about him. And this is where the people pleasing became a problem for me. I lost myself. I did. Lost myself in this relationship, and the person that I was with seen me losing myself and didn't know what to do to help other than to judge and to comment on. My mental state was always in a place of darkness, and this person that I was with hadn't even realized that they drove me to that state. And don't get me wrong, I've always kind of struggled with depression, I would like to say. Like, I've always struggled with it to some extent because of, again, my life and the adversities that I went through was a crazy one. That being said, a lot of people understand the way that I'm wired and why I believe in transparency, and even why I'm making this video, because again, I am a key believer of wisdom, right? The more wisdom you have, the more you know, the better you'll do, period. Like, that's just what that is. If somebody would have told me what I know now prior, I wouldn't have been in this situation, and I probably would have been on a different trajectory of things. Not getting out of bed, crying all day, and this person will sit there and like have nothing to provide. Out of all the things that I was providing, he would not sit there and be like, are you okay? Crazy to me. And he's not the only person that's ever done this to me. The amount of people who really don't know what to do once the people pleaser is in distress is crazy. I see it with everybody, not just myself. And people sit there in utter like silence and be like, I really don't know what to do here. I really don't know what to say. That's crazy to me. But when y'all are falling apart, when other people are falling apart, that people pleaser is there at your aid. And it was at that moment, we had reached 2-year mark, 2.5 years together, where I realized this wasn't going anywhere. This was not a place where I wanted to be in, essentially. This was not a space that I could say that I was excited to be in. I tried to see things through. It just was not conducive to being productive. And I'm pretty sure he had his experiences of me. That's one thing I'm always like transparent of. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a victim, because I know that I'm somebody in a relationship too, meaning that I'm hard to put up with for certain things that I have. And if you guys hear about it, I will attest to it. But the points that I really want to take away from this whole message is that take your time. Take your time. In that courting period, really truly get to know a person and start to see who they are when things get tough. Like, stick around long enough in the courtship to where it's not a relationship officially. Watch them go through hard times and hard moments and watch their responses. Watch their responses with you and how they handle you with care. Those things are what's going to tell you a whole lot about a person. And I will sit here and tell you mistakes after mistakes that I've made. The biggest one was not knowing a person enough before I jumped into a relationship with them. This relationship, from my negligence, cost me more than just me being single by myself. But it was the emotional responses and handling me with care that I just did not like. And that matters, because if I handle myself with this certain cut of care, right, which I think everybody should handle themselves with care, right? Treat yourself nice. Like, if you buy yourself flowers every Sunday, the person who's caring for you should essentially support that and help you get that. They should be either A, buying you the flowers on Sunday because they paid attention to it, or B, when you don't, they should know immediately. She didn't get herself flowers this Sunday. I'm going to pick her up some. If you're not with a person who's that observant, and when I tell you there is people out there that are, then you don't need to be with that person at all. And this has a lot to do with self-value, self-worth, yes, but this all the more has to do with the things that we don't pay attention to as women. Oftentimes women, we like to think that we can fix people, we can add to people's dynamic, when really all we're adding to is a mess. This person has to be able to get themselves together to a certain point, and it's okay to be not completed when you get together in a relationship, but that person knows that it is their own responsibility to make sure that they're up to par for you. Not your job to fix them. Thank you, Holy Spirit, again. I'm okay with saying no now. I'm okay with saying that, that relationship doesn't serve me, and I'm okay with ending things sooner. I'm okay with not putting up a fight for certain things. There are certain things that just doesn't deserve you and doesn't deserve your attention and that much work to do. And you shouldn't have to put forth so much energy for something to work. I also do believe that courting for longer periods is definitely something that I highly recommend for my ladies to do. We finally sat down and had a serious conversation about the reflection of the relationship. We finally came to the conclusion that it just wasn't conducive to being productive. It's just the love was lost. It was truly traumatizing for the both of us because, again, 3 years had passed at this point. And we had gotten accustomed to actually living in the dysfunction. So much to the point that we both kind of struggled with the fact that it needed to end. And I struggled with it too. Again, somebody who doesn't believe in giving up. But I had to realize that in order to grow, I had to let that go. Giving up essentially was not failing. Failing would have been continuing. I didn't want that for him. I didn't want that for myself. And over that course of time, we started to realize that we were not compatible. We just knew. I knew after seeking God, and I had said this prayer. Let me tell you about testimony. In the midst of us being together and going through these many storms, I had told God, God, show me things that I'm not able to see on my own. As soon as I asked God to start revealing things to me that I never was able to see, that's when my heart began to reveal itself to me. And when I say that my heart started to reveal itself to me, I started to realize that I was operating in such good faith, with my heart, so much to the point that I wasn't being logical. You need a little bit of grace, and you also need a little bit of fact. Oh, girl, I didn't realize how much I was putting on. Jesus. You need to operate in your heart, but you also need to operate with your head. I think the both need to be acknowledged when dealing with people in relationships, even friendships. You need to be as reasonable as possible, but then allow your heart for forgiveness. And like I said, I could laugh on it now, but a couple months ago I couldn't. I was really torn apart about it, and it really broke me. If you told me in a million years that I wouldn't be dating that person, I would have looked at you crazy last year. Right now, I am currently sleeping on my floor because I still have to order my mattress. I have a new apartment, which I'm super ecstatic about because the Alicia before would have never done nothing like this. I've always been play it safe, bills conscious, I can't afford that type of girl, to now I'm just girl, we'll see when we get there. Although I'm kind of sad that I'm by myself, I'm just so happy that I'm in a healthier space. I am completing everything that I always wanted to complete, and I'm doing everything that I always wanted to do. God has been here with me. Some days it doesn't feel like that. I do want to admit that. Some days I do feel like, God, why did you do this to me? I was happy and there was times, still times, where I'm like, should I just stay with him, right? Because it was easier. It was easier that way, right? There's hardships that I face every day. I'm still not financially in the space that I want to be in, and I'm still on a road of figuring that out. But I'm okay with admitting to the fact that I don't have it all figured out. And I'm okay with admitting to the fact that I'm doing it on my own and I'm struggling, but I'm happy. I am happy, absolutely 100% happy. There's not a day that I regret my decision of pursuing me. All right, y'all, I used a lot of products. I'm gonna have to list them in the description, baby, because y'all not gonna be able to understand. Overall, he and I are in great spaces, so this video don't need to be taken out of context or being proof of look what she said. Y'all don't need to do that neither. I forgot to record the ending of that video, but I wanted to get on here to let y'all know that I am in a happier space. I'm physically in a different space, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally in a different space, and I'm okay with doing things alone. I appreciate my solitude more than ever, and I'm starting to understand me for who I am, essentially. But I'm just so grateful that God brought me out to the other side.